Recorded live.
Welcome to Freedom Fighters for America Radio. Tonight, the Tom Heneghan and Stu Webb Intel Hour. Tom Heneghan and Stu Webb. We're located at www.freedomfightersforamerica.com.
I'm here.
And now here's the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today's October the 14th, 2009, Wednesday. Tom, this is Stu Webb and Tom Heneghan. And Tom, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fine, Stu. How are you tonight?
I'm good this evening. We're having a meltdown, financial meltdown, Tom. Tell us about it.
We've had a financial meltdown. And the bad news, folks, is that the problem has not been solved. It's been actually compounded. As I've explained on previous shows, we have a derivative problem. Quadrillions and trillions of derivatives that were piled up over a period of 13 years by what I've always described for a long time now as the Bush-Clinton crime family syndicate and its enablers in the banks and the media, etc.
Tom, one quick question before you get into too much detail. When you say quadrillions, most people can't understand it. We got bank bailout. The Geithner indicated it was $25 billion, $22 billion. San Francisco Chronicle, I think, reported on it back in February 2008. One of the best stories around where FDIC was bailing out at the time. Different agency than TARP.
Right.
It's off the charts what they've done. They've done the junk bond daisy chain, like Michael Millman, Charles Keating, different ones that were involved, Larry Mizell, Norman Brownstein, the same players. Again, we have the same meltdown with the same players again, with derivatives tied to artificial mortgages that didn't exist. And now we have these oil and gold derivatives tied to the banks. And we have the same banks that are being bailed out, which is Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, AIG, Citicorp, GE, the Bush-Millman stooges.
That's correct, Stu. And, of course, when you talk about a derivative, let's explain it's a bet. It's basically you're taking out you're speculating on the future of a stock or a company or a commodity. But the problem with it is it's not legally. It's traded through these basically security houses, not commodities. And they set up these
Merrill Lynch.
They set up.
America absorbed it to hide the artificial mortgages and these. They're not regulated yet. Losses.
They're not regulated, and they're run through the banks, and they're run through offshore entities of the banks, like Citigroup, like Goldman Sachs, which is a bank now, which is a joke.
I hear they're going to take a few billion in bonuses now again.
Right, and what they do basically is they leverage it out from par to 20 to 1. The derivative game started under Clinton when he got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act. They started out at 5 to 1, and Bush fraud, of course, took it to 20 to 1, onward to 40 to 1. So basically, what he did is created a cash cow for banks to enrich themselves, which then enriched the corporations, which then enriched the Bush-Clinton crime family syndicate and its media enablers, which are owned by the corporations.
Okay,
that's how. Let me just finish here. That's how you get to the level we're at right now, where basically the banks are zombie banks. These insurance companies are broke. They're now being targeted for antitrust, mainly because they don't have anything left. So why worry about them now?
Okay, so the average listener out here, then go to StuWebb.com. They go to the junk bond daisy chain that Al Martin and I, Iran-Contra whistleblower, had done together. Then go to see that story. and kind of get an idea of what the current situation is with the banks. Because it's the same bastards that have bastardized the country.
That's right.
Both
and of course,
Clinton, Millman, crowd.
Yes.
Mizell, Brownstein, the same players.
Phil Wynn.
Yeah, we
Mark
can't
Rich
forget him.
off.
Mark
and,
Rich. The Mossad. The freaking Mossad in America, right?
Right, and all these people got pardons.
They make a Mossad. Tom, I ask you. I'll lay it out to you. Is Leonard Millman, Larry Mizell, Norman Brownstein, and Phil Wynn make a Mossad or not?
They are affiliated with the Israeli intelligence group, yes.
Heavily.
Now,
but the money launderers for the the Illuminati bankers.
Well, they laundered a lot of the money of the Bernard Madoff's Ponzi scheme right through the New York Federal Reserve Bank and Stephen Friedman, who, by the way, was the CEO of that bank, who should be indicted, but his indictment is being held back under alleged national security, which is absurd. He basically laundered a lot of the proceeds and commissions into Israel, where media people like Morton Zuckerman and Joe of U.S. News and World Report and the New York Daily News and other people like Joe Klein, the little punk that...
the Israeli Mossad stooges in the media that report these lies for the Mossad, like Bush has his... You there, Tom?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to complete a thought here. What you had here is as I mentioned, Joe Klein and Morton Zuckerman went there and got their money back. Now, I can report tonight that the J.P. Morgan alleged profits are bogus, that they took a lot of their derivatives and parked them in various Austrian, Swiss, Polish, and Swedish banks. These derivatives are about to collapse these banks in Eastern Europe. These are the same banks that were used to fund alleged Al-Qaeda, Black Op, and terrorist operations, including the Chechnya EWA link, Electronic Warfare Associates. J.P. Morgan, again, is broke. They have no money. What the Fed has been doing up to this point is basically marking up derivatives as long as the banks around the world agree to mark them up, make them worth something when they're worth nothing because the real estate market has collapsed, so they're worthless, and then printing cash based on the markup of these derivatives, which, of course, is bogus collateral, which makes all the money that the Obama administration has printed and the previous Bush fraud administration has printed as basically funny money. That's why, Stu, you're talking about replacing the U.S. dollar now. That's why the Russians and Chinese are huddling about what can be done to save the world economy. And I hate to report this to my fellow Americans tonight. One of the things they think has to be done is that the United States of America has to be written off as a, quote, toxic asset.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. That comes in the biblical prophecies also. In end times, American in with Israel. Why? Because of the sins on the back of Israel, and it isn't the people of Israel. It's the control box that the Illuminati bankers, Anwar bin Shari, the head honcho of the rabbis in Israel, like Pope Iman, the Pope, the current Black Pope, 100 Illuminati bankers, Millman, 100 Illuminati bankers, George W. Bush, or George Herbert Walker Bush, 100 Illuminati bankers, Rothschild, 100 Illuminati bankers, Rockefeller, 100 Illuminati bankers, etc. The 100 families that control 90% of the wealth. That's
let's dovetail the report I just gave to. You're right on target on that, of course.
You're on target, Tom, and I'm trying to do it for the edification of the listeners.
Now, I want to report that one of the reasons Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize was because it was given to him as a bribe to hide the fact that a lot of these offshore ghost accounts, secret accounts, which are the back end of the proceeds of these phony derivatives, are parked in Polish, Austrian,